If you're retired and you've hit the boredom stage, or maybe you think you've lost your purpose, maybe substitute teaching is for you. And what better place to talk about supplemental income in retirement as a substitute teacher than on my conference period as a substitute teacher? Let's talk about it. Never in a million years did I think that I would be a substitute teacher. I think I actually even swore it off. I wasn't going to substitute teach. I wasn't going to be a basketball official, and I wasn't going to drive a bus. And turns out I'm a substitute teacher, and I actually love it. My background in teaching as a retired teacher and principal, I was a 5th grade teacher for 10 years, and it was a departmentalized environment, which meant I taught reading and math, and the kids switched classes. I was also a basketball coach and a track coach. I don't tell the kids that I was a principal. None of these kids where I sub know that I was a principal for 20 years. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how much I make as a substitute teacher and how much I've made for the month of September. First, I want to tell you how this works. In order to become a substitute teacher, you don't necessarily have to have a teaching certificate. I'm not sure of the exact qualifications, but I think you have to have a certain number of hours to be a substitute. You can call the school that you'd like to sub at, and they'll tell you how to apply. The way I sub is from PenMax Services. It's an employment service. It used to be through the school. The schools used to hire substitute teachers. Well, it's grown so much lately that they've hired businesses to find the subs for them. I use an app in the mornings or whenever I get notifications, and I can pick and choose the school's level classes and teachers that I substitute for. For example, right now, I'm mainly wanting to sub at the same high school, and whenever that high school has an opening, I try to pick that. High school openings go the fastest because it's probably the easiest, and I'll get into that as well. You will want to find out from the school in your area that you want to substitute how you go about doing it. It either is going to be an employment service or that school is going to choose their own substitute teachers, and you'll have to fill out the paperwork, probably have to sit in on a training, and yes, we have to watch like 28 hours or more of safety videos in order to be able to go to work every day. A couple of things to note. I am in an area that has a very large public school system. Whenever I cannot sub on a day, I go ahead and I log into the app and I choose that I can't sub that day. Therefore, they won't contact me on that day. The days that I have not selected a location to sub and my calendar is open, I start getting texts at 6:30 in the morning asking me if I want to sub. This particular location offers bonuses after a while. I have been texted maybe at 9 o'clock and offered $20 additional or $40 additional to substitute in a high needs position. One other thing I wanted to note is that when I went through my training, I was told that there are over 400 daily positions in the particular school district, public school system that I'm in every day, meaning they would need 400 people a day to fill all of their open positions. Can you even imagine that? I just can't imagine that. When you show up to substitute teach, you have to be a self-starter. You're going to check in the office, they're going to give you a binder, keys, maybe a lanyard, and tell you where to go, what the directions to your room, and that's about it. Then you are on your own. For me, as a directionally challenged person, substituting in high schools has been challenging in that every time I go in a door, I don't know which direction to go when I come out the door, and I've always been that way, but I have gotten lost in the high schools that I've been in before. I always ask, people are super helpful, kids are sometimes not helpful and they think it's funny. You have to be a self-starter and be okay with just figuring out the day on your own. I think that's why I've loved it, because every day and every location is different. I always bring my lunch and I have to find a microwave, whether it's the teacher workroom or a teacher has one. In the high schools, there's been 3 different locations for a microwave. I think it's challenging sometimes if you're not a self-starter to take it personally that there's not a lot of directions. You show up, you go to the classroom, hope there's lesson plans. Anything above and beyond that is on you. I can see how some people might feel neglected or overlooked or like they're not treated well if they don't get attention, but I see it as a service. I'm just trying to help a school. I'm just trying to help a teacher. I'm going to tell you the differences between the high school and the elementary when it comes to substitute teaching. I substituted 1 day at a middle school, and I will never sub at a middle school again. Freshmen are almost the same as middle schoolers in that, number one, they can't seem to keep their hands to themselves. I required that they be sitting in a chair the whole time, and by the end of the day, I remembered to tell them that they cannot have a pencil out because they like to stab each other with their pencils and just horse around and throw stuff and things like that. Freshmen seemed to be the same way. At the elementary level, from a principal's perspective and a teacher's perspective, they are very needy and very helpful. They're going to tell you how to do everything and tell you that you don't do it like the teacher. You're also going to teach every subject all day, have a very short lunch break. Your conference period will be super short. And if you can get there early to read through the lesson plans in the day, that's the best. However, secretaries don't get to school much sooner than the students, and you may not be able to check in and get your lesson plans as quickly as you would like to get settled for the day at the elementary. At the elementary, you will also have recess duty, and usually the substitute teacher is given recess duty, whether it's their turn or not. You'll want to be sure that you're prepared. If it's a scorching hot day, just make sure you don't wear a sweatshirt or you take a jacket. If it's a freezing cold day, make sure you have boots, a hat, gloves, earmuffs, a scarf, and a heavy coat. The high school. I have loved substitute teaching at the high school. I've been elementary my entire career. I was an elementary teacher and then I was an elementary principal. I wanted something different. I also have not subbed in the district that I was in for 29 years, just because, first of all, I think that's weird for me. And I needed and wanted something different. The reason why I was retiring was because I just wanted something different. For me, no one knows me. The kids don't know me. Now they know me because I've built relationships with them. It's easier and nicer to just be an unknown in this experience for me personally. I love the high school because it is a fun environment. The kids don't really care about me as a substitute. As soon as they see me when they come to class, it's like, oh, we have a substitute, or oh, we have a substitute. They're either excited or disappointed. But you also have to be able to realize you're like the lowest person on the totem pole. Nobody really cares about you. I mean, they care about you and they need you. And most teachers have been super nice to me, but I have said hi to them first and I have asked questions of them first. What I have experienced so far at the high school is a block schedule, which is a longer period, an hour and 40 minutes. I usually have an assignment left that's either on the computer or I just have to hand something out to the kids and give the kids something to do. They're supposed to work on their work the whole time. The majority of them are on their phones or they talk. My main rule is to talk quietly. I don't mind if they talk, and then to be in a seat and not be roaming around the room. I do remind them over and over and over again to do their work. They just don't, and I can't force them. At the elementary level, you can give them a teacher look or a dirty look or something, and they will get busy. At the high school level, they don't care. They're not going to get busy. There's lots of cussing. I think it's gotten better since I've been here longer. I think they noticed that it was shocking to me and they thought that was funny. And it is shocking to me and it is kind of funny. But I mean, they just cuss all the time just in their regular language and just talking to each other. They use swear words, and I am not used to that. However, I didn't get wrapped up in that. I mean, pick your battles. I wasn't going to pick swear words as my battle in substitute teaching. Usually during a conference period, you have 50 minutes to an hour and 40 minutes that I don't have kids. So it's the end of the day. I don't have kids for the rest of the day, but they would like for us to stay. They know I'm here, and if they need help, I can help anywhere. When I sign in the morning, sometimes they'll ask me if I will cover for somebody during my conference period. So right now I could be covering for another teacher if they needed it. One other thing is all doors to a school open out, and it was the same way when I was an elementary principal. They're not a prisoner. We can't keep them here if they don't want to stay here. Obviously, they can walk out. At the elementary level, most parents have taught their kids not to just leave the school, but I have had experiences at the high school where the kids just walk out, or I look up and they're just gone. Of course, I let somebody know, but there's nothing, it's not like I can chase them, and it's not like I can force them to stay in class. Before I give you the last bit of information, which is the pay, if you have any questions about substitute teaching or comments, if you'll leave them down below, and I'll answer those. I try to answer all the comments. This is a little off topic from my usual retirement videos, but a couple of people have asked me what it's like to be a substitute teacher. You have to have kind of thick skin. Maybe you don't care. I mean, I care. At the end of the day, I don't have to take work home with me like I used to, but I still get to be around the kids. Substitute teacher pay is based on experience and length of time that you are subbing. For example, I am a retired teacher, so my substitute teaching pay in this particular district is more than someone who doesn't have any experience. In my bank account, after 1 day of substitute teaching, I would have $129. I'm trying to stick to 2 days a week, and it was about $250, $254. I did do 3 days a week, which was over $300, and that was great. But since I'm retired, I really just want to do 2 right now. If you're a long-term sub, after so many days, the pay goes up on the 10th day to make it a long-term subbing day. It's different pay for different positions. I can sub as an attendance secretary, a teacher. I could also sub as a principal, and I just haven't chosen to do that yet. I was in Iowa this weekend, and my mom told me that Iowa pay was more. She said $170 a day, but I didn't verify that with anybody. If you're from Iowa, you would want to find that out. I'm sure it's different in every state. There are substitute teachers needed everywhere. Every school Facebook page that I look at has not only teacher offers, but substitute teaching offers, paraprofessional offers. Every school, I think, everywhere needs the help and is looking for help. So if you're retired and you're interested in helping, working with kids, any of the things that I've mentioned in this video, check with the local school you're closest to and see if you can help.